Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Switching Stances. I am one of your hosts, Tyler, joined by my good friend, my good buddy, Ollie, aka Gaz. How's it going, mate?
It's going well, man. It's going well. I've just moved back, so different background, different setup, different layout, which is all a little janky, a little sort of duct taped together, but hopefully working fine. Hopefully it looks alright. Hopefully I'm not too echoey or anything. So, yeah.
Mate, you look awful. I'll say that. I can't see you, but that's okay.
That's right.
I can't actually see you, so I don't know. I could only assume.
Yeah, that's okay. That's fine. We'll talk about that after we'll stop recording.
Yeah. That's fine. But yeah, you've moved back home after finishing university, so congrats again on that. How are you feeling, and what's sort of the next step for you at the moment?
Next step, I'm going to go traveling with my girlfriend sometime later this year. Or not this year, sorry. Sometime next year. So
now, would you say you're traveling far? And if you are,
I would say I'm traveling far.
Okay. Would there be a land, I don't know, maybe down under you might come to?
There might be. It's definitely on the cards. We're doing Southeast Asia. Is the plan, but depending on when we go, we might.
I'd be pissed if you were
money.
that close.
Yeah, right. We'll try and make a stopover.
Yeah, I'd be pissed, but that's okay.
We're definitely. I mean, Millie wants to do New Zealand. I've just name dropped her. Wants to do New Zealand. So
I'm sure it's fine. Oh, she wants to do New Zealand, but not Australia. Okay.
Well, I just think she's into the landscapes and shit. You know, it's quite scenic.
Hasn't seen. Okay, it's the same here, but that's okay. You haven't seen photos here, that's okay. Not exactly the same, different.
No,
but
well, look,
it's fucking beautiful.
What I've said is
best beaches on earth.
We can do Australia for a longer period of time, and then have some day trips to New Zealand, or like a few days.
Yeah. I was gonna say I wouldn't say day trips, but yeah. I know.
They're not gonna be
a couple of days. Like I can go to New Zealand over the weekend. Yeah, like a long weekend.
Yeah,
you know. Like that
that's
done.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I get it. Okay.
But yeah. How about you? What are you up to at the moment?
Oh, mate. I was just telling you off air about just working a lot more on grappling and wrestling at the moment. Loving my wrestling at the moment. While in between fight camps and going to Hawaii in less than 2 months with my girlfriend.
Yeah.
So
of
I'm sort of not focusing on any competitions right now. Once I get back from that trip, then it'll be getting into another fight camp again. But until then, I'm just looking at training for the next, month and change as fun, getting better everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, just no pressure on myself when I get in the gym. Just give it my best every time I'm there. Try to learn and try to have fun with it. And it's been really good. I've been enjoying training a lot. And I've been really enjoying doing more grappling and wrestling that I wasn't doing during fight camp because I was just very focused on striking, obviously, because it was a Muay Thai kickboxing fight.
Of course, yeah.
But yeah, just getting back to doing everything and enjoying that. And I'll do probably a few grappling comps over the next couple months too. Like we've got Into Gym comp next weekend that I'm a part of. And then hopefully I'll do like a wrestling comp. Wrestling, grappling, like cage wrestling, I should say. Competition, probably in August.
I didn't know they did those.
Yeah, cage wrestling. So it's like jiu-jitsu in a cage, but
yeah. That's cool.
Starting from standing and all that, and so that's what. Hopefully in August I'll do one of those tournaments. That's the goal. But just having fun with it, man. Having fun with it at the moment. And good just stuff. Work's very busy and trying to enjoy life, and a lot on always, but it's been good. Life's good at the moment. And what hasn't been great over the last couple months is the UFC. I'll say that. But what's changing? There has been a couple things I'm sure we'll get into, but what is changing is this weekend, which is why we're mostly here today, which is UFC 290, aka the Australian Takeover continues. For the second international fight week in a row. We run it, we own it, we headline it. That's just the truth.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's not in Australia.
Yeah.
considering they're going to Australia like a month and a bit after.
Yeah, and most of the card
And-
are Aussies and Kiwis,
Yeah, right.
including
It's
the
a
main
weird
event.
decision. It's a weird decision that the UFC have gone to
Three of the
Sydney
main
with Israel Adesanya, and they're not going to have
Exactly.
anyone there that's an Aussie because all the Aussies are fighting this week. Dan Hooker,
Well, they will. Like, Tai Tuivasa will fight.
Taito Ivasa will fight, I'm sure.
Tyson Pedro
Carlos
will fight.
Ulberg.
And Carlos Ulberg. Yeah, that's great. They've got Jake Matthews fighting at 291, bro.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Bizarre.
But with this weekend, you've got what? Dan Hooker,
Yeah.
Jamie Malarkey, Jack Della, Rob Whittaker,
Kai's fighting at
Volkanovski.
293, isn't he? He's got a fight.
yeah.
Kai
He's
does.
got, who's he with? He's got.
He's got a fight.
Is it Perez?
Yes,
Is it Carp? Has he got Carp again? I think he's got. Is it Cape or Carp? I'm not sure, but
Hang on, let me look it up. UFC 293.
I want to say it's Cape.
Well, none of that's coming up. Great. UFC 293. What fight? Where? Why have we got no fights on there?
It can just be speculative. I'm sure if you
Yeah,
type in Kakar France and go to the news.
Here we go. No, I'm going across because you know the thing usually comes up on Google. All that's come up on
it's just
Google is
Carlos
Carlos
Ulberg's
and
site.
yeah,
Yeah. I just had a look myself.
yeah, that's bizarre. Anyway, I'm pretty sure Kai's fighting, and Izzy will fight. Izzy's a Kiwi. That's you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like we can't not say he's not one of ours.
Of course, but your big stars at the moment are Izzy, Ty, Jack Della, Rob, Volk. And having three of them
Half of them are
fighting,
not fighting on it.
this
I mean,
week
let's be honest.
is
Jack
weird.
Della's going to fight in that card. This weekend's not going to be shit.
That's a good point. Yeah, actually. That's a good
Jack
point.
Della
Because
will be
Jack Della's
fine.
had
He'll
a
be fine.
fallout.
He will
was
be
booked
fine.
against Sean Brady,
If
which
I mean,
was an interesting fight. Has now been booked against a 7-0 lightweight, which is interesting. The UFC, despite a horde of contenders, sort of throwing themselves at the name.
That's
they've
a money
decided to
thing, and
sign
I think
someone.
they saw it out. They saw it out to put him on 293. They're like, let's feed him.
Yeah, that might be
Pay him
shy.
his 10 and 10 that he's probably on for his first contract.
I think he had how many fights has he fought?
Because
I think he had. He's fought 4. Okay, I think this might be the first of his new contract. Then I want to say
that's exciting. Well, just pay the man and just get him back in 9 weeks. That's what I say. Get him back in 9 weeks in Sydney on home soil. Give him a top ranked opponent.
yeah, if you can make it happen, absolutely do that.
Yeah, that's what I reckon. That's what I reckon.
I do want to touch on a couple things from the last week or the last 2 weeks, really.
Yeah.
Josh Emmett versus the consensus hottest featherweight.
I mean,
Ilia
consensus
Topuria.
hottest fighter in the UFC.
That's true. Yeah.
I would argue.
Yeah.
I don't think featherweight's enough anymore, especially when you're putting on performances like Ilia Topuria did.
A rare
last week.
10-7 he got.
That was a bit bizarre.
A 50-40. No. It was totally valid.
10-7? I don't know, bro.
10-7. I think it was
10-8.
round 4 when.
Yeah.
Nah, I think it was round 4 when he like almost killed Josh like 3 times. I think
he did almost kill him. He did almost kill
I-
him. That's a good point.
my criteria for a 10-7 is like it could have been stopped several times, but it wasn't. You know,
Yeah.
like for
I'm with
me,
ya.
like something like Holloway versus Cater round 4 as well. I'd say 10-7. Have Cater like out against the ropes, just beating him, and Cater by sheer will managed to put himself back into the fight. I would probably say that's around 10-7.
Okay. I've heard you. I disagree, but
Okay.
I can see it now more than I did before.
Okay.
I'm more on the
Well,
fence.
that's
I'm more on the
progress.
fence.
It's progress.
It's progress. I had it 10-8. Not that it matters.
Yeah, that's
because
fine.
at the end of the day, Ilia won the fight by dominant
domination.
fashion.
Yeah.
Do you think he beats Volkanovski if they fight end of the year?
Okay, so I wrote a preview.
This is the real job. We could sit here and talk about the Emmett Ilia fight, but Ilia, fucked him up. He looked so good. It was what I thought would happen, if I'm being honest. Probably even worse than I thought. Even more impressive than I thought. But the question is, can he do that to Alex Volkanovski, the undisputed
when I previewed
champion
Topuria against Emmett, I had some hang-ups with Topuria. I thought that his cardio has been really shaky, which we'll come back to.
Yeah.
His only fight that's gone 3 rounds, he gassed hard in at the end, and he has also he swings big, is very explosive, and I was like, maybe he can't do that for 5 rounds, and I was kind of right. He couldn't, but what he could do is conserve very well. He knew when to pick his moments, when to take a little 2-minute breather, get back on the horse. He did very well at that. And that's fine against an opponent like Josh Emmett. Against a guy like Alex Volkanovski or, like, dare I say, Max Holloway, they're not going to let you off the horse.
True.
They're going to stay in your face. And
I
if
totally
they
agree with
sense
you.
that you're trying to conserve your energy, they're going to get straight on you and pressure, and make you work.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. I said to you earlier this year about Ilia, I said, I think he has the potential. I just don't think he's ready in the next 12 months.
No?
I don't think it's his next 2 fights. I think give him 1, maybe even 2 more fights, and then, then he's definitely ready, and it will be a competitive fight. I think if you gave Ilia Volk next, like let's say Islam fights Charles in Abu Dhabi, even though Volk apparently wants that fight if he wins here. Let's say they do the Charles rematch. Volk's not going to wait because we just know Volk. He might do the backup thing again, which would just feel like we're in deja vu as well.
There's no point.
Abu Dhabi, Volk's backup fight, I feel like it feels a bit weird.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know, but Volk fights MSG, I don't know, or Vegas, November, December, and then that'll be against, and let's say it's Ilia, because it's probably who it would be if he fought at defended the featherweight title this year.
Yeah. It would be.
I think Volk would just absolutely, I think he might get some good shots on him early. Like, he might even drop Volk, similar to like a Chad Mendez or a Max Holloway has dropped. Volk's been dropped to a knee type thing. And I could see Ilia doing that.
Yeah.
And landing early in the first 2, we're talking first 2 rounds, but it would be first round to be super tentative both sides. Second round, Volk would probably land a bit more, but Ilia would land some heavy shots. We'd see his power. But the longer that fight went on 3rd, 4th round, Volk's going to adjust as he always does. He's going to read him better than he does, better than anyone else does. And then the gas tank won't go away, like you said. And then Volk will wrestle, fuck him, and ground and pound.
Yeah.
In those later rounds.
Ilia's a great grappler.
It'll look
we've
similar.
We've not really seen him on bottom.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. And what I'm thinking is,
but then so's Ortega.
This weekend, bro, if I'm being honest.
Yeah,
I think this weekend's going to go.
Similar to how I see it going, for sure.
Yeah, no, if I was going to break down how I think this weekend goes, UFC 290, Yair and Volk, very similar to that. Very talented, very different styles, very different types of strikers, but the story of the fight being dangerous early, the longer it goes, favors Volk. Wrestling, ground and pound, grind. That's how I see it. If Volk's going to win this fight, I don't see Volk. I don't see Volk trying to stand up with Yair or stand up with Ilia late rounds when he doesn't need to. Not that he couldn't, but when he doesn't need to. I feel like he would. He would be on the feet for a bit, mix it up, but he'd be going to the wrestling. He'd be getting you in the clinch, grinding against the fence, taking you down, ground and pound. That's what I see, but it'll be fast. Like he does, where the pace of it is just unfucking believable.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll get to that later. I am jumping ahead, but we are talking.
That's
about,
right.
Ilia.
If you wanted to touch on this week's card as well, a lot happened. For a Strickland main event, an Apex card, a lot happened.
Yeah.
We saw the fraud checking of people you don't believe are real. Garam Kutateladze knocked out in the third round by one of Charles Oliveira's teammates. I haven't seen the fight, but I saw what looked like a very tired Kutateladze sort of just crumbling.
Yep. Yeah. That's not a man or a person, but we'll pretend. We'll keep going.
Okay, yeah. And Demir
every time you say his name or bring him up, I will always say you made him up.
That's fine.
He's your imaginary friend. He's your
I
imaginary
might not
friend.
be saying him that much anymore.
True. But he's your imaginary friend.
Yeah. Okay. He's my imaginary lightweight.
Yeah. Your imaginary lightweight that doesn't exist.
Who else? Demir Ismagulov has also been he just looked like he's hit his athletic peak, really. It was quite sad. Just got completely athlete bullied by Grant Dawson.
Yeah.
Just like a young, explosive guy. I don't know how much younger Grant Dawson is, actually, but just like didn't look like he had the athleticism to deal with the situation, sadly.
Yeah. How did you feel about Sean Strickland this past weekend and him potentially, if something happens this weekend with Rob or, Dricus, that Sean Strickland would main event a pay-per-view in Sydney against Israel Adesanya?
So, to start with, hilarious fight. One of the funniest fights I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because Abbas comes out and starts doing
one of the
all-time
blunder game plans all time.
Yeah, no, awful. Yeah. Awful. Comes out and does all of the right things. He's front kicking through, he's kicking Strickland, which he struggles to deal with. Strickland's big thing is like hand defense. He's good at defending against boxing unless you're Alex Pereira or like a good boxer. But if you're just sort of like spazzing strikes at him, he can deal with it.
But when you're like aiming the kicks at the arms, to get that guard that he holds so tight to come lower,
kicking the calves, he's doing all the right things, and he's doing all the right things at 110%. Second round 2 starts. He's huffing, he's puffing. He can't do a thing.
I mean, I'd argue things changed before the first round finished.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like in the second half of the first round, it swung not in the favour of I don't think Sean won the round or anything, but what I found interesting was in between rounds, his coach said to Sean's coach said to him, in the complexity, he kept saying, and he said like 3 times, he's like, in the overall complexity of a 5-round fight, that was a good round for us. He said it 3 times. He said that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I agree. Because what I saw by the end of that round was a guy that, like you said, was giving 110%. And I'm like, he can't keep doing that. And Sean Strickland's fought way too many 5-round fights. You know what I mean? And already in the first round, he was like slowing down. Like he wasn't landing as many. The pace was in between. Sean got a chance to land a few. And then he was sort of almost giving up on his kicks by the end of the first round. And then, like you said, going to the second, from the bell, it was a different fight. Like, I agreed with Sean's coach. I thought we would see that shift round 3, maybe. Yeah. Definitely by round 4. Didn't expect it in round 2. Was a bit embarrassing because he fucked him up in the second round, Sean Strickland.
Incredibly embarrassing performance.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to know, if you're Abbas, that you've been sent in here to
do a job.
To take Sean out, to take that space. I'm going to sneeze.
He's muted himself. Can't hear him.
Yeah,
I mean, arguably to do a job. I mean, there's 2 ways you could look at it. Was arguably to do the job of get beat by Sean Strickland and put Sean back, continue in the winner's circle. But I'd argue his job was to beat Sean Strickland and beat him.
I'd agree. He's a Magomedov. Yeah. He's one of the Russian boys that the whole... As soon as you see that he's got Magomedov in his name, even Ov in his surname, really.
Yeah. Oh, God.
The entire post-Khabib Dagestani fan base is going to gun for you hard. Is going to say that you're the next big thing. So that, like, they were trying to bring in that hype train and didn't go super well. Just one of the worst performances I've ever seen, I think. Genuinely awful.
You reckon?
Awful.
Worst
yeah. Genuinely, like, embarrassing stuff.
Yeah.
Bring in any middleweight who's had a fight before.
Well, when Sean Strickland starts landing, just stands in front of you and starts throwing 1-2s on repeat, and your only response is cover up, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, right. It's not like Sean is like a great... he's no Rob Whittaker. He's not going to break down your defenses like systematically and start landing. No. He's going to walk forward and he's going to throw 1-2s and 3s.
Fuck me.
Yeah, it would be brutal. Oh my God. But he's not... Sean Strickland is like the perfect gatekeeper, and he probably will get a title shot given Izzy's ability to clear through the division.
One day. Yeah, I agree. It'll just sort of happen by nature of just being there long enough.
Yeah, just by being around.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know that I'm in an incredible minority here, but I don't hate his title shot after this fight. If Rob and Dricus,
I don't either.
Up too badly.
Why not? I mean, it's just
man?
It's just like Izzy gets a showcase.
Yeah, exactly. Izzy gets a showcase. It's a fun fight week. Like,
I just don't like Sean Strickland on the microphone in front of that many people.
No, neither do I. It's probably quite bad for MMA. But
I'd say, and I say that as an advocate of mixed martial arts, and most especially mixed martial arts in this country. You know what I mean? I don't want him coming here where the mainstream media is going to pick it up and be covering it. It's in Sydney. Like, that concerns me. With how much hype will be around it, how much talk will be around it, how much the Australian sports media will be around it. And that's a big part of this country. The sports media is a very big part of this country. Yeah. And it's news and media cycle. And I don't love that. I would be much happier. I'll tell you what, if Sean Strickland fought Izzy and it was a title shot, I'd find it funny. I'd be like, this is a bit of fun if it wasn't here. If it wasn't in Australia.
Yeah,
I'd be happier about it, but I'm a bit, I don't love it. As someone that's a part of this world, in this country, I just, don't want parents seeing this and thinking people that do this sport hate women and say dumb shit and disrespectful shit like that. And it's just fucking Looney Tunes. And for all intents and purposes, probably should just be behind bars permanently. If we're being completely, if we want to call a spade. Probably would be a serial killer if he wasn't, fighting. Very concerning personality. But I just don't love it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not super into it myself. It's so easy in the MMA bubble to be so aware of so many different figures that, like, when I think about Sean Strickland, I'm like, oh, he's a wacky personality that doesn't remotely represent MMA. He's so out there. But when you're not seeing those sorts of fights, and he's fighting the biggest star the UFC has right now that isn't named John Jones, because Conor McGregor's done.
Izzy's bigger than John Jones. Izzy's bigger than John Jones.
I don't know, man.
Izzy's bigger than John Jones.
I had a lot of messages from people who don't like MMA about that John Jones fight.
I've got no doubt. I've got no doubt. John Jones is a big star, but the reason people are talking about it is because John Jones fights once every fucking who knows how long. The last time he had like back-to-back fights that were recent or close together, they don't do well. He doesn't follow up well because when you watch a John Jones fight, you're reminded that he's boring every time, without fail. Every time you watch it, you're like, oh yeah.
It's crazy that you can say that and then be a fan of Izzy.
Yes. I mean, I'm also very biased and don't know what I'm talking about.
That's
so
true.
there's those
Yeah.
two things as well. So I don't know why you're throwing shade at me. You know. Well, I think I'm more mean because Izzy doesn't, hit women.
That's true. He doesn't, that we know of. There's always a chance.
Don't.
We could always.
No.
You know.
Let's not put things like that into the universe. We don't wish that. We don't wish things like that.
No, absolutely not.
We know this about Mr. Jones.
We do. He's been quite open about it, really.
Yeah. Hitting pregnant ladies with cars, shit like that.
I mean, taking photos with people who have his mugshot on their t-shirt.
True, but what else can you do when you're a big,
you can be like
fucking loser?
You can be like, hey man, fuck off, please. That was like a low point for me, Yeah.
Well, I mean,
think it looks way worse. I think it looks way worse if you're posing with it because it sort of implies a bit of pride.
But he is proud. He's a narcissist. He doesn't. To him, when he sees that mugshot, he sees himself as a victim.
Yeah, no,
he doesn't think he's ever done anything truly, truly wrong, or that he hasn't God's forgiven me. So when he sees that, he's not thinking, "Wow, that was a really low point. I don't want to remember that." He's thinking to himself "Fuck those people that put me behind bars," or I can't believe people talked I was a victim. That, you know what I mean? He's just oh, they haven't. Yeah, I don't think he thinks the way you think he should think, or the way you would think, or the way I would think. He's always the victim. He's always in the right. Yeah. I paid for my sins and God was testing me. Dumb shit 100%. Like that. Or somehow everyone else is wrong. Yeah. I don't stress too much about that. And Izzy's got 10 times the personality John Jones does. That's my opinion. I know maybe you don't agree. And he definitely says cringy shit.
He has
no doubt about it. But
it's not one that I enjoy, but he has a charisma for sure.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's probably part of the star power as well. But I mean, Izzy's a bigger star. I think pound for pound, Izzy's a bigger star. I think he's consistent, as in terms of box office, what he draws, money, attention. Whereas John's sure, he draws a lot in every once in a while, he's fought his DCs, his comeback to heavyweight, things like that. Yeah, but I mean, what was he doing at the end of his lightweight run? Fuck all. You know what I mean?
Heavyweight, you mean?
Light heavyweight. Yeah, against Dom Reyes and Santos and stuff. Fuck all. No one cared. No, that's true. It's because he's been on for 3 years and he's fat and he's fighting Cyril Gane. And the sport's way bigger now than it's ever been. It's post-COVID. I get it. He is a big star. There's no doubt in my mind. He'd be after Izzy, but I'd say Izzy's a way bigger star. Pound for pound.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I still don't know that I think fight for fight, I think people that I know are more excited for John Jones fights because they've had less frequent room to be disappointed by them.
I understand.
It's like having people stay up for the Marvin Vettori fight.
And maybe it's just in this country because it's not even close here. It's not even close here of who's your bigger star and more well known. People might like John Jones better if they're in MMA and MMA fans or whatever. But in terms of the overall, Izzy's a big star here. So. Yeah.
No, I mean, best
maybe
we've
it's
got
my
is
too.
Paddy.
Yeah,
we've got Paddy, and if you have people
star,
who are
your champion's Leon Edwards and your biggest star is Paddy Pimblett. Your country's
true. I forgot that our champion's Leon Edwards.
What do you mean, bro? That pisses me.
I forgot about it.
Leon, put some respect on the welterweight champs.
I'm a big Leon guy.
I love Leon Edwards. Yeah. Haven't always, but I love Leon Edwards. And
I rewatched that fight the other day.
His second Kamaru fight?
Less. His third.
Yes, sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah, second time. Yeah.
A lot less close than I remember it, and then I think people try to remember it.
What do you mean? I didn't think it was that close. I thought it was 4-1. Or pretty clear 3-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was close. No, I thought Leon pretty strongly won.
People try and pretend like there's a case for Kamaru winning. Which I don't see.
But most people are dumb that say things. You know what I mean? Not most people aren't dumb, but most people that say things are dumb.
Yeah,
smart
right.
people
And
keep their mouths shut, in my opinion.
You're on Twitter a lot less than me.
Well,
Which is one of the best things about you.
Yeah, true. No. But I'm also like we're two people that speak, so we're also probably a part of the dumb people. I'm not really.
Oh yeah,
we
said
count
some stupid shit.
We count in the dumb people. For sure. I'm not one of the smart people. Smart people don't talk. They shut the fuck up. You know.
Yeah. I did want to touch on one more thing.
Oh god.
Just before we move to 290, and it's the death of Kevin Lee.
Oh, dude, I didn't even see that. Like I saw that on Twitter. I just saw like his head on the photo with his head on the canvas. Did they cut him already?
I don't know, but I don't want to see him fight again at all. He looked like he hadn't fought in 5 years, to be honest.
Did he look like he hadn't trained as well?
No, he just looked like he hadn't been hit for a bit. Like things were landing, and he didn't have any sort of defensive. Or was he on the prelims? He was on the. I think he was on the prelims.
Prelims. Imagine being on a Sean Strickland Apex prelim and you fought Tony Ferguson for a title.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Late prelims.
It's a shame. It's a real shame. But like he looks so bad. Even in the bits where he wasn't getting knocked out or choked out.
Oh yeah, he was like the last fight and everything. What was it? First round? I'm pulling up my phone.
Oh, first minute, man. It was rough. He got hit with a couple bits and just looked like he hadn't really been hit for a while. Looks kind of defensively, like none of his instincts were there, man. He looked like he just hadn't done it in a bit.
Well, it looks like he hasn't been training, if as well, or sparring or anything. What's up with the hair? Look, CGI. Okay.
But he gets dropped by this big 1-2.
His first round's just started 452, 451. Yeah. I mean, he looks very tense. Well, he looks nervous, to be honest.
Yeah. Very
tense. Not a bad little 1-2 there. Not great defense. Hands are dropping, and he just looks really stiff. Yeah. I mean, he definitely looks nervous. But right, he does look in shape. Yeah, that inside leg kick is nice. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That was a rough one. What a beautiful one, too. Oh, yeah, okay.
Shoots for the takedown, guillotine, and he stays like this for a while as well.
No, he's out.
Because
He's out.
Yeah, but his grip remains so solid. He stays on this double leg like he's frozen, like a marble statue.
No, that was rough.
God. It's just one of those where I don't know if like MMA's come such a long way since he was good.
I mean, to be honest, that's hard to tell. 1 minute, it wasn't even a minute, it was like 40 seconds. I'm not willing to say he should never fight again.
You know, kind of am. I think he looks
one
so
more.
Bad.
Give him one more, bro. Give him one more.
Okay,
he's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
he's alright.
I
say give him another one. He's a fighter. What else is he gonna do?
I'll watch him fight again. But
yeah, me too. I won't because obviously I didn't until you told me. You know what I mean?
No,
but
of course.
I wasn't really that pumped for the prelims of a Strickland card of the Apex. That's all I'm saying. No. I had other things I thought I'd rather do with my time.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. But I'll tell you what I wouldn't rather do with my time. Anything else but watch UFC 290 this weekend.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
About that. Yeah, let's do it.
Do you have anything on the early prelims you want to talk about?
Let's pull up the card so I can look at it.
There's two things of note I want to mention.
Early prelims. Let's have a look. I mean, you've got Cameron Simon, the South African, one South African fighter I like. I like Simon.
I like Cameron Simon.
Yeah.
I particularly like how he
way better than Dricus. Way fucking better than him.
Oh yeah, but he's a bantamweight? That goes without saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah, true. I think I mean, he's exciting.
He's good. He's good.
Don't know who Terrence Mitchell is.
No, neither do I. But
what's his
record?
The notable thing, 15-2. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No,
The notable thing about Simon for me is that he just fouls everybody he fights.
He does. Wasn't there like 4,000 in his last fight? Something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, his first two have been. I think he's lost a point in both. It was rough.
Yeah, okay.
Like he illegally needs someone in his debut. It was a wild one.
Yeah.
So I hope he sort of has tempered that a little bit.
Yeah, me too. Tempered. Yeah, me too. Me too. I am excited to see Shannon Ross, the Aussie flyweight. He's fighting as well in the early prelims. He first fought. I think he fought in the Volt card early prelims as well. Was his debut, and he won first round like TKO in like a minute.
Oh, nice.
I think it was
because he's not got a fantastic record.
No, it's not. What is it?
13-7.
Yeah, not a great record. Oh, hang on. No, he didn't win. No, he didn't win. No, I remember who he is. No. I'm thinking of the wrong guy. Totally thinking of the wrong guy. This is the guy. Oh, Gaz. Oh, I totally mixed up who this was. Because who was the flyweight that fought recently, the Aussie? It wasn't even back in Volk's card. On really short notice and beat a ranked opponent. Was he a flyweight? He was a flyweight.
I don't know.
This is the guy that came out to the Turkish remix of Down Under before Volk's fight. Do you remember that? And you messaged me going, bold of anyone else to try to come out to Down Under before Volk comes out. It's like, I know.
Yeah.
And then he lost. He lost by first round KO.
That's tough.
He lost in like a minute. I totally got that mixed up. It's literally the opposite of what I said. See, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, Oh, that's a shame. Okay.
I totally saw his face or his name and I got it mixed up. But hopefully he does way better. Fighting a Mexican, this is sort of we war against Mexico this weekend. So we're obviously rooting and don't get it twisted. Like if other than Australians and Kiwis, favorite people, favorite culture, I fucking love Mexicans, dude. So it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Because I love Mexicans. But unfortunately, we are at war for this week. And then we can go back to being friends come Monday morning, 9 a.m., But up until then, that's not the case. But shout out to Shannon. Hopefully he don't come out to Down Under Turkish remix again, please.
Yeah, please don't.
Please don't do that again. That's all I ask. But that's about it for the early prelims.
Oh, I actually did want to shout. I don't know anything about him really, but I've seen a lot of people very high on Tatsuro Taira. A lot of people
the Japanese.
Yeah, a lot of people saying he's the next big thing. I think I've seen one of his fights, but I need to go back and give him a proper look.
Okay, this seems very
he had a fight. I think either on the Stickland card or the Topuria card, and it got cancelled. Right. So I think it's like £130 catch weight.
Yeah. Okay.
So I just wanted to shout that as one to watch.
All right, one to watch. Okay, that's exciting. What type of fighter is he?
I don't know, man. He's good, is what I've heard.
Okay. Just general mixed martial artist. He hasn't come from Japan with as a great kickboxer or something specifically.
I don't know. Not that I've heard, but he might well have. To be honest, I might. I mean,
he's 13-0.
Yeah,
3 knockouts, 7 submissions. I feel like he's a grappler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looking at his stats. I mean, he's got that's 10 finishes in 13 fights, and he's 13-0.
Yeah.
So
and he's been in the UFC for a minute as well.
He's 3-0 in the UFC. Holy fuck! Who is this guy? Right, decision, submission. His last 2 wins are by submission. Okay. Fuck me. Righto.
Yeah, a lot of people high on him, and especially because flyweight's kind of weirdly open for the taking. Like you've got Kai, you've got Albazi at the top, but other than that, if Pantoja loses, then it's it's kind of
which we hope
quite roomy.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get on to
the prelims.
Jimmy Crute of absolutely fallen off fame.
I was high on Jimmy Crute for a bit.
Me too, bro.
I picked him against Jamal Hill, which was.
I mean, I'm gonna pick him again because I don't have a choice.
That's true.
But I look at Alonzo Menafield and it reeks of an upset. And I don't know if I'd even call it an upset. The odds makers would barely call it an upset at plus 100, but it just reeks of Jimmy Crute getting finished in the first.
He just fought Jimmy Crute and they drew.
It is because they fought on the Vault card. I forgot that they'd already fought.
Same.
But also, Jimmy Crute definitely lost. Didn't like it wasn't a point deduction from Alonzo, and then they drew.
It might have been
because remember, like Jimmy, like it was a great fight too. That was a great 3-rounder to open the main card of 284. But it was back and forth, and it looked like Jimmy was getting finished, and then he like came back in that third round. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Vaguely. I remember talking to you about it. But...
I feel like it was a split draw. Yeah.
Maybe.
Weird. True. I can't believe they're making them fight again. I guess so. Yeah. I didn't like Jimmy's performance in that fight. Like, I didn't like
No. I remember we talked about it and you were like, the wrestler, he's going to wrestle him and he's going to grapple him and he's going to submit him. Which obviously you'd say because, countrymen.
I'll say it again.
Yeah?
Though it reeks of...
He's going to submit him? Yeah?
I don't know, eh? I mean, I think Jimmy Crute just needs to come out like a fucking bat out of hell, if I'm being totally honest with you. He needs to get that fucking Bendigo chin together and do it for the fucking state of Victoria. He needs to fucking get his shit together.
I remember him fighting Anthony Smith was one of the first fights I watched live.
Really?
I think it was the first pay-per-view I watched live.
That was the Rose...
it wasn't
Wei Lee, Kamaru, Jorge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It would have been because it was the
was
two
it
leg breaks in
Sterling
a
as well?
row because Weidman snapped his leg the fight afterwards against Uriah Hall. Because it was like 2 leg breaks and then it was like the 3 title fights. That was like the main card.
Yeah, maybe it was.
But then again, who Jimmy's lost his last. Well, he's lost his last 2 and also lost to Drew with Menafield. But I mean, the last 2 people he's lost to Anthony Smith and Jamal Hill. Jamal, known as the champion of the world fame.
Yeah, whilst Yuri's letting him have it.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if I love that fight for Yuri as well, though. To be fair,
no, neither. I think it's a tricky one, but
yeah, and I love Yuri, and I'm ready for Yuri, but I also Anyway, Jimmy Crute. Yeah, I'm picking Crute. Anyway.
Yeah, you're picking Crute. I'm gonna pick Menafield.
Okay, I mean, if I wasn't Australian, I'd probably pick Menafield as well. If I'm being honest with you.
Okay. That's
but
fair.
I'm picking Jimmy Crute. You take that with that what you will. I mean, I think we go. Do we need to break down Jack Della Maddalena and Josiah Harrell? I mean, Jack Della Maddalena is the next welterweight champion of the world, and hopefully Leon Edwards is still the champ when he gets there. That's what I'm hoping
I'd like that.
An Aussie and an Englishman.
That is a fight that I couldn't feel bad, no matter how it went.
Yeah, I mean, I could. And I love Leon. I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hope Jack absolutely takes his dreams from him, and his family. But that's fine. That's okay. We'll get there eventually.
We'll get there eventually.
We got a long road.
Not this time. Because he's not fighting a top 10 guy anymore.
No,
he's fighting a 10-10 guy.
Yeah, Josiah Harrell on a week's notice. Surely they're not paying him 10-10. 7-0.
Oh, I'm sure they're paying a little bit.
Muscle Hamster
not
is
much.
name. Muscle.
Yeah, he's
Hamster.
One of Matt Brown's. He trains with Matt Brown, which is cool. I like Matt Brown.
Me too.
And if it wasn't against Jack Della, I'd be rooting for him.
Yeah.
But I'm not because I love Jack Della.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be rough. I think short notice
First round.
replacements
First
are always weird, and I think I don't think Josiah Harrell's going to bring anything to Jack Della that he hasn't seen before.
It depends on
It's
who
my
they're
big
fighting,
thing.
hey. And I just don't think. I think Jack's made a steal, bro. Like mentally, I think
Yeah.
he's just made a steal.
I can't see him being perturbed by anything that Harrell brings. I think if he was meant to be striking and Harrell came in as a wrestler, which apparently he is, he's a decent grappler.
Yeah.
Then I could see an upset if Jack had been training this whole camp around certain striking tendencies or what have you.
Yeah,
but the fact of the matter is
he's
been training to fight Sean Brady. So I think he's like an incredible striker as it is, probably one of the best we're seeing at the moment.
Yeah.
And on top of that, he was training to fight a grappler, so I don't imagine he's gonna have anything for Jack Della. I think Harrell will probably lose, and I think it'll be quite ugly.
Yeah, I agree. I tend to agree. I mean, there's something you can say that's similar with a lot of the Aussies and Kiwis and about us in general. And a lot of our UFC fighters, very likable blokes. The difference that separates Jack Della and maybe Volk, but I think Jack Della has it even a bit deeper. Jack Della, there's something dark about him, eh? He's got a dark, like mentally, he just looks like he is absolutely unbreakable mentally.
Yeah.
There's something, he's got an aura about him, Jack Della. He has an aura about him. Like, he doesn't give no fucks. Zero. Absolutely no fucks to give. And the way he fights is so loose, so free, like he gives no fucks, but also is just an elite level athlete.
It's loose, but it's so technical. It's so like he looks like a boxer, you know?
People thought Randy Brown was going to be a test, and he fucking killed him.
I think it showed things about Jack Della that make you go, but I don't think it was nearly
But to show something, but I don't think you can take anything from that, because just because you go, oh, Randy was landing on him from range, and then Jack's like, in a minute he was able to adjust and then finish the fight. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay,
that wasn't my point. My thing was that I think that it would be interesting to see someone pressure back against Jack, who loves to go forward and move in, and Randy gave it a go.
But we've seen guys come forward against him. He's knocked people out in the UFC going backwards.
But there's a difference between no one's put a pace
I know what
on
you're saying.
And Randy did try to do that.
Yeah.
And Jack looked a little uncomfortable for a minute. Once he figured it out, he was fine. I'd like to see someone else who will put a pace on him versus Jack. Someone, I mean, I don't really want to see him fight ever again, but someone like Colby or someone like Usman, someone who will just get on you.
Yeah.
I'd like to see how Jack deals with that.
I think Jack could fight Usman right now. I really believe
I think so.
I'm so high on Jack Della Maddalena. I said it to you when he last fought. We said it on this podcast, one of the first episodes, maybe the first episode of this podcast. I said, if he's who we think he is, he will make it look easy. And that was what I said to Randy Brown. And anything less than him making it look easy, he's not who we think he is. And he made it look easy, and I'll repeat it here. He has to make this look easy if he's who we think he is. I don't care if it's short notice. I don't care if this kid's actually super ultra talented. This kid's a lightweight, and he's not on Jack's level. Ain't no way.
Yeah, no,
and Jack's got to make that
completely
clear. So I think it's first round done, first round finish, however he wants, whether it's submission or TKO.
Yeah, I think I'm picking exactly the same. To be honest, I think Jack Della just smokes him out of the water.
Yeah. Okay. The feature prelim.
Let's talk about it. I think we're going to disagree. You're picking Robbie Lawler because you love him, surely.
In all my years of watching mixed martial arts, Gaz, there's only one that when they're fighting, I get goosebumps. Every fight. And when you tell me they're fighting, I'm like, I have to watch. In all the years. And when I think of my top 5 favorite fighters of all time to watch, when I think of my top 5 favorite fights of all time, Robbie Lawler's in every conversation. Like top 3 favorite fights of all time, 2 of them are Robbie Lawler's. Carlos Condit, the Rory McDonald fight, second one, I think is the greatest mixed martial arts contest ever. Robbie Lawler is one of the greats all time. Hall of Fame, going into the Hall of Fame for his fight with Rory McDonald, the night before this fight. Like, I can't say enough good things about Robbie Lawler. It's now his final fight, his retirement fight. I think he has the will and heart, and I don't think that will ever die in Robbie Lawler. Ever. I don't think his body can physically do it the way he used to. Like, when he fought Barberena, I thought he was obviously the more technical, the more ferocious, and the better fighter. But the gas tank and ability to keep the pressure going and keep the pace going is what failed him. The pop. You know, old Robbie Lawler would have finished Barberena multiple times. Like, he had the opportunity, but he just, like, literally would stop and pull back his punches because it's like, I'm going to gas out if I throw even 2 more punches right now. Like, that was the vibe I was getting. And that was really disappointing. Like, I loved it because I was like, believed. But it was just disappointing to see. And it's after the last few fights, it's just gotten to the point. And some unfortunate injuries along the way in his later career too have really held him down. And probably cost him a couple of wins that he could have gotten back then. But his career's been what it's been. He goes in the Hall of Fame the night before this fight, his final fight against Nico Price. You know, all intents and purposes, Nico Price, the younger, very fit, very athletic, very good fighter, Nico Price. Not some world beater or anything. It's a fair fight. If Robbie Lawler's going to fight, this is the sort of guy you want him to be fighting. But Nico Price is an absolute beast, great athlete, always in great shape when he fights. And with that, I'm picking Robbie Lawler.
Okay, yeah, and that's purely bias, right? That's not. That's going to win.
Robbie Lawler,
sort of manifesting it.
Robbie Lawler is the Undertaker of MMA. And I'm not sure if you've ever watched pro wrestling, Gats. I'm going to assume no.
No, but I understand what you're
Now, the Undertaker has a thing we like to call the streak.
Okay, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, he had the streak. The streak ended. The WrestleMania streak. The WrestleMania undefeated streak. 21-0. Eventually lost his 21 years in a row. That's how long he wrestled for. 21 wins. WrestleMania, Undertaker, the streak synonymous. Bigger than a world title, the biggest thing in pro wrestling. Eventually lost to fucking Brock Lesnar. Who gives a fuck? Doesn't matter. Bullshit.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like you care at all.
No. Well, it's my favorite wrestler of all time, The Undertaker. Robbie Lawler. And if I was to say WrestleMania, when's WrestleMania for MMA? It's International Fight Week. That's our WrestleMania. And you saw last year, Izzy came out to The Undertaker's entrance theme and everything in the main event of International Fight Week. Robbie Lawler being The Undertaker of MMA. WrestleMania plus The Undertaker equals doesn't lose. Look back, International Fight Week, UFC 189, 2015, Robbie Lawler, Rory McDonald 2. 4 rounds in, one of the most brutal fights in MMA history. 3 rounds, Rory, 1 round, Robbie on the judges' scorecards. Robbie defending his welterweight world championship in the co-main event. Comes out in the 5th round and puts it on. Rory McDonald finishes him, retains the welterweight championship with like his fucking lip hanging off his face. Because it's just cut from nose to mouth, all the way through the gum. He would talk and half his lip would stay still and the other bit would keep moving. Animal. Now, I haven't done any more research on it other than that one fight. Don't know if he's ever fought an International Fight Week other than that. But what I'm saying is, off of vibe and only vibe, Undertaker plus WrestleMania equals victory. Robbie Lawler plus International Fight Week equals victory. Robbie Lawler wins this fight.
Okay. I'm going to give the counter argument.
Okay.
Robbie Lawler doesn't have a writer's room, sadly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have...
What are you saying?
People. He doesn't have people orchestrating a fairy tale ending for him. I think it's going to be an MMA retirement fight, I'm afraid. I think it's going to go the way of Frankie Edgar. I think it's going to go the way of TJ Dillashaw. I think it's going to go the way of every old man that we've seen put out to pasture straight to the glue factory.
We've seen in this sport fairy tales.
We've seen fairy tales. I don't think this is one of them.
We've seen Leon Rocky Edwards, knock out Kamaru Usman 5th round, win the welterweight title. We've seen fairy tales in this sport. We've seen Izzy 4 fights, 3-0 down against Alex Pereira. You know? We've seen George St. Pierre come out of retirement, move up a weight class and become the middleweight champion of the world. We've seen fairy tales.
We see
another one here this weekend.
We see another one here
this weekend. Robbie Lawler, Undertaker gets the victory. Hall of Fame gets the win by controversial decision, and we move on.
I love that you won't even give him like a good decision. It's got to be a robbery.
It's no. Fairy tale, controversial decision. Decision.
I'm gonna say
Dana White says, "Hold my beer." You know.
I'm saying that Nico Price is gonna knock him out. I'm afraid.
How dare you?
I think it's gonna be sad.
Fucking dare you?
I'm gonna message you. Either way. I'd love Robbie Lawler to win it.
Who do you think you are?
I'd fucking love Robbie Lawler to win it. But I just don't... I can't give myself hope. And I think that MMA has conditioned me not to have hope that old men win against younger men.
Yeah. Whatever.
On that somber note, do you want to hit the main card?
Yeah, I mean, that opening fight, who gives a fuck? Bo Nickel, who gives a fuck? Bo, who gives a fuck, Nickel?
I think Bo Nickel is one of the most... He's the definition of an industry plant.
I mean,
like he's
the most
good.
Vanilla who gives a fuck like I've ever heard talk. Ever.
Yeah. He's clearly skilled. He's clearly good. But stop putting him on the fucking main card.
What?
Robbie Lawler
is retiring, and we're giving Bo Nickel the opening. Jack Della Maddalena should be on the main. Jack Della should be opening the main card. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Feature the kid that's going to be a world champion. Bo Nickel is never going to be a world champion in the UFC.
I think less so now that he's not fighting Sean Brady.
Yeah, no, I know, but Bo Nickel's doing the same thing. Bo Nickel's
I know, but they want Bo Nickel to be big.
He doesn't even have a picture on the UFC website. It's just a blank face.
He's also just some guy that they signed. I think he's Chris. I think he trains at Extreme Couture. I think. God. I saw Chris Curtis giving him a shout, but whatever. I just think it's going to be... I'm going to put a little bit of money on him, just because maybe he's going to be able to handle it.
I'm picking Val Woodburn. Because fuck
it. Okay, I'm picking Val Woodburn too. I don't even know what he looks like.
Neither do I. Don't know him. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what he looks like until I'm watching this fight. And I'm picking him. I'm picking Val Woodburn.
I'll pick him too. Why not?
For the yarn. I'm picking Val Woodburn.
I just think Bo Nickel's someone that I would like him, and I'd be a fan of him if the UFC weren't desperate to push him. They gave him a fucking spot on what's the one that's not embedded? Countdown. They gave him a spot on Countdown.
Yeah, I know.
Like they had the main event, the co-main event, Rob Whittaker, Dricus Du Plessis, and Bo Nickel versus it's Bo Nickel versus Tresean Gore. Which, for a start, the disrespect to Jalen Turner and Dan Hooker. But, also, I'd care so much more about this guy if you weren't trying to force-feed me him. Yeah. Put him in a prelims opener, for all I care.
Yeah, I agree. If he was on a prelim, I wouldn't be as bothered by him. But fuck Bo Nickel. I'm picking Woodburn.
Seems like a nice guy, but like I just don't care right now because you're trying to make me care.
Yeah.
You never tried to make me care about Jack Della, you know? He's still buried halfway down the fucking prelims.
Yeah.
But I care because he's good and he's consistently shown himself to be good. And he's been someone that I've brought friends into the room to be like, watch this kid. He's like the next big thing. And he fucking sparks out Randy Brown. You know, he's someone that I've like actively tried to get my friends into because he's so exciting. Even though the UFC doesn't want to give him the fucking time of day yet.
Yeah.
And to see Bo Nickel get this push, I'm never going to tell anyone about Bo Nickel.
No.
Until he enters the rankings and like does some exciting shit.
The vibe I get from Bo Nickel is like the average like white wealthy northeastern American family that just took their kid to wrestling class every day and wrestling meets every weekend, and that their whole personality as a family was defined by the success of Bo Nickel at wrestling meets on the weekend. Like that's vibe I'm getting, and I don't care about that.
No.
You are nobody to me. I don't care.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Tell you what, next 4 fights do care about all of them.
Oh yeah, all bangers.
Jalen Turner, Dan Hooker. Number 11 v number 12. Jalen Turner of breaking the heart of Australians and New Zealanders everywhere fame.
4-0 against Australians, or Anzacs, I should say.
Yeah. Don't like Jalen Turner, surprisingly.
No.
You know
what
I mean?
Think you would.
I'm not. I actually think he's shit. You know, if you were to ask me, I'd actually say I fucking hate him. And that's nothing to do with no bias involved in that. That's just purely my unbiased opinion on him.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to ask me my biased opinion, I also think he sucks, but unbiased, hate him. I've got Dan Hooker by decision in this fight.
Yeah, I thought you might. Yeah. I don't, sadly.
Yeah. Tell me what you got. No, but you don't understand. It's platinum blood. This is the Charles Oliveira turn.
This is midlife crisis. Dan Hooker.
Dan Hooker's is tatted up
himself
and got platinum blonde
dyed his hair blonde.
Dude, I'm telling you, this is the resurgence. This is Dan Hooker 2.0. This is Dan Du Bronx Hooker. That's what I'm gonna say. Dan Du Bronx Hooker, and fuck Jalen Turner. He's gonna leg kick the shit out of Jalen Turner.
I'd love it
and win by decision.
I'd love it if he would. But I don't know. I rate Jalen Turner. I think he won that Gamrot fight quite convincingly.
I agree.
I think it was like a genuine robbery.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's a...
Dude, not often Dan's
it's a tricky one.
Guy as well, hey?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Taller fighter.
It's going to be interesting to see Dan try to go to work as the man that has to get on the inside.
Yeah.
Because Turner is like quite a good outfighter. You know, he was able to keep Gamrot at range, able to clip him on his entries.
I mean, do you know who's a great training partner for someone like...
Yeah, right, Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
You know?
That's a good point.
Israel's 6'4".
Yeah.
You know? And I promise you, and I've seen it, Izzy has been training with him a lot with Dan.
Yeah. You know what? That's actually a really good point. I haven't thought about that.
You know?
Yeah.
I was just staring at his height and I'm like, well, that's like Izzy's height. And I'm like, hey, Dan trains with Izzy. Dup. Yeah.
Yeah, like long hooks. Kick. Like, I don't actually know how much Turner kicks, but I need to like properly give Turner a look because I've only really seen a couple of his fights.
Yeah. Have I turned you around? Dan Hooker by decision?
You've not turned me around, I'm afraid. I still think Turner...
Has Jalen Turner beaten city kickboxing people, or has he just beaten like Aussies?
He beat Brad Riddell quite quickly.
Yeah, I don't like that. Very different fighters, Dan Hooker and Brad Riddell, in fairness. But yeah, I didn't like that. But Brad Riddell, man, that was tough. That was a tough fall off for him.
Yeah.
Didn't like that. But yeah.
I'm picking Jalen Turner by knockout, sadly.
Okay. I'm picking Dan Hooker by... You know what? I changed my mind.
By knockout?
By submission. Dan Hooker's
by submission?
But Dan Hooker will...
Yeah.
The hangman. The hangman will be back. I think he's going to kick him on the outside for a bit. I think he's eventually going to try to clinch up with old Jalen, and I think he's going to take his back against the fence and choke him out.
Yeah, okay. I like that. I like that story.
Yeah.
I
bet you do.
I don't think it'll happen.
This is the welcome to the writer's room.
It's nice fan fiction.
That's my fan fiction. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I need to have faith restored in Dan Hooker. I loved the Claudio Puelles fight. Was that the one where he just the leg lock guy who just wouldn't?
Love to see it. Dan's coming off a win, bro. Tatted up, platinum on air. We love to see it, bro.
Yeah,
we love to see it.
I absolutely hope you're right. I'm just gonna be a bit of a doomer and go with Turner.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Next we've got the featured bout on the main card. Bang in the middle. Middleweight. Number 1 contender title fight.
Mm-hmm.
The winner fights Israel Adesanya at UFC 293 in Sydney for the UFC Middleweight Championship. It's Robert Whittaker versus Dricus Du Plessis.
It is indeed.
We've talked about this a lot over the last few months.
It's a fight that we've talked about before it was made. Every time that Dricus has fought, I think when he fought Till and when he fought Brunson, both times we've said, haha, put him in with Rob. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing it now.
Frankly, he's shit.
Yeah.
He is like everything I don't like about a fighter. He's like just spazzy, gasses, does stupid shit.
Yeah. Fight IQ is terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know how he keeps winning. I don't know how he's number 5.
His middleweight sucks, man. He's got here by Darren Till and retired Derek Brunson.
Yeah.
Like Derek Brunson, who was already retired, came out of retirement and then re-retired. And I'm sure he'll be back out of retirement. But fighting Rob Whittaker, bro. Yeah, he's fighting Rob Whittaker. So it will be embarrassing if he loses this one. If Rob loses this one, because it's one that we've been calling for as a joke. So I really hope that Rob gets it. It's one of those things where I think I'm just rationalizing this because I'm scared.
Yeah.
But Dricus has power and he's lunging.
Yeah.
And I can see him just lunging into some silly bollocks that catches Rob.
No.
I don't think it'll happen.
No.
I think it's going to be a clean Rob.
Look at what he did
battering.
to Kelvin Gastelum. And that's probably the most similar striking style I can associate Dricus with.
Yeah.
The way he sort of moves and the weird bounciness he sometimes does, especially when he's tired. Like,
Kelvin Gastelum is also like 10 times the technician.
Agreed. I think Kelvin Gastelum would beat Dricus if they fought.
Yeah, I think so.
I think Rob does absolutely whatever he wants to him. I think he's going to be absolutely in form. He looks in incredible shape. He looks in incredible shape. He looks good. Rob's like Volk. They are regular Aussie fucking workers, bro. They're just regular dudes. And what they do is they just work. They're just professionals. Athletes aren't treated in this country like they are in like the States, for example. They're not fucking heroes. We love them. We fucking get amongst them. But they can walk around and live a normal life and just, this is my job. I'm putting in the work. I'm just one of the boys. You saw what Volk was like in Perth, bro, when he's running through and he's got his arms out. The energy from the Aussie blokes, it's not like, oh my God, you're a god. It's fucking let's go for the boys. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's just one of us. That's the vibe.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Like, Rob's not going in like, Dricus is going to be easy. I'm going to let my guard down at any point. Rob's going in there like, this is my fucking job. 15 minutes of perfection. I'm going to fucking put it on him. He's done it to everybody. Marvin Vettori, Jared Cannonier, Kelvin Gastelum, Darren Till. Arguably, is he in that second fight?
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that this is his.
Yoel Romero twice. Jacare Souza. Like, the best of the best of the best. Robert Whittaker beats everybody. Beats everybody. Not named Israel Adesanya. But beats everybody. Not named Israel Adesanya. You know?
Yeah. Yeah,
and he's not losing
to
Dricus. You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, Rob beat Brunson when he was kind of good in the first round.
I love that that's like the best compliment you can give Brunson.
Yeah. When he was kind of good. Like, yeah, he was okay. First round, Rob KO'd him. And that was 7 years ago.
And then Jacare after it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. And then beat Yoel Romero with one leg. Unbelievable. Unfucking believable. Yeah, I'm nervous, and I will be nervous beforehand just because I'm always going to be nervous when Rob fights, but I'm at some point you've got to have logic come into it, and there's just no way unless Vince McMahon wrote this. As in, unless this was in a writer's room, Robert Whittaker's winning this fight, and he's winning it very well. I'm going to say second round finish for Rob.
I'm also going to go the knockout. I think that he can just sort of deconstruct him.
Yeah.
I think
first round will be
first round will be a bit of a feeler.
Yeah,
and then
agreed.
By
the end of the first round, he's going to put damage on him by the end of the first round. He'll have landed a couple of 1-2s, a couple of good shots, and then I think he's going to get that trademark head kick in the second round.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be the head kick as well.
Yeah.
And I think by the end of the first round, Dricus will just be huffing and puffing.
Dude,
I don't care about his nose surgery.
Wins, bro. I'm not watching the rest of the card. And I'm actually I retire from the podcast. I can't. I won't be able to go on.
That's fine.
Because I'll be dead, Gaz. I'll be dead.
I'll do it with James instead.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't wait to hear his breakdown. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, Rob by finish.
Agreed. Okay, this is probably the closest fight, I reckon, on the main card.
Yeah.
UFC flyweight title fight, Brandon Moreno and Alex Pantoja. Is it 3 or is it 2? Do you count? They fought in the Ultimate Fighter, didn't they?
They fought in the Ultimate Fighter, and I think Moreno got submitted, and then they fought in. I think it was UFC. The fight that kicked Moreno out of the UFC.
Yeah, it was.
For a bit.
He lost by decision.
He lost by decision, and it was a bit of a shit kicking, to be honest. I think it was a 10-8.
It was like 5 years ago, though.
Yeah. Oh no. Yeah. I'm not using it as like there's things to take away, but Moreno's a different guy. Pantoja's pretty much the same guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think Pantoja's better. Yeah, I rewatched their. I don't even know if it was their first. It was the one that got kicked out of the UFC, so I'd say it's their first fight.
Yes, no, it's their second fight.
Is it their second fight? I thought
they fought on the Ultimate Fighter, and I think that was when they came in, and then I think Moreno just got signed, didn't he?
Yeah. And then he went left, and then
Yeah, I think it was the second, right?
Yeah, must have been the second. And it was a much closer. Well, I mean, he didn't get finished, but Brandon's the way he moved was just, I don't know. There's something about him now that you've seen the last couple times he's fought Figgy that it's so he moves a lot and he moves in and out really well, but he used to just sort of it. I guess what I took away from it is that he didn't know as well where he was stepping and where his feet needed to be.
No.
And he would move a lot of really sloppy side to side movements, really sloppy back and forth movements. Whereas now the way he slides in and out with his striking is so fucking good. I think he's so much better with his range, which I think was a big problem with their second fight in the striking exchanges, was the range management. And I think he's just so good at that now. And I think having fought Figueiredo 4 times has helped. He'd had to improve that because Figgy's so good with his shots, so powerful. he needed to, not be there to be hit.
Mm-hmm.
He had to really learn that and when to come in, when to come out. I think Moreno is 10 times the fighter he was when he fought Pantoja.
Easy, yeah, I think so too.
I have Brandon Moreno winning this fight. I think it'll be a 5-rounder. I think it'll be a decision. I think it'll be close, relatively close. Like, I think Pantoja will win a round probably 2 rounds. I think he probably wins 2 rounds. I think this will be a 48-47. I think there might even be people that think Pantoja won, but I think Moreno will probably, a strong unanimous decision where you're like, okay, that was the right guy won, but it was a good fight. That's my feeling. That's my vibe going into this. I just think Pantoja hasn't improved as much, and that's more championship experience we're talking about. That is 5 years of Brandon Moreno fighting 5-round main event in the spotlight championship fights against some of the best guys out there. Like Kai Kara France, finishing Kai is so impressive. You've seen how Kai's been fighting everyone else. Like, he did not lose his fight a couple of weeks ago. Like, that was just absurd. No. Like, he won that. Like, Kai is top tier, top 3 flyweight at the moment. And Brandon Moreno fight was a great fight, but Brandon obviously finished him. Strongly won that fight. Strong first round. 3rd round comes in and finishes in body shot. Like, Brandon Moreno is so good. He beat Figueiredo. He finished him twice.
Yep.
A draw and 2 finishes. Like, he's fucking unbelievable. He's got the heart and will. Like, he's not getting finished. I guarantee you that. Brandon Moreno's not getting fucking finished by Pantoja. And I think he'll be way more patient, way better at, avoiding the strikes, staying in and out. Because, man, when they fought the last time, it was just, Brandon looked so sloppy. He looked like he didn't,
that's it. He looked like he was doing unorthodox shit for the sake of doing unorthodox shit.
Yeah. Where he's way more focused now, way better camp, way better routine, way more of a professional. He's a world champion, has been for years now. He's got it. He's got it. I'm convinced, and it's on that experience difference that has happened in that time. I think, I think Brandon will put it all together this weekend.
Yeah,
I'm actually predicting. I'm predicting his best performance. I'm predicting his. It doesn't mean it's not going to be close. I just think Brandon Moreno will look the best he's ever looked in this fight.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to think. The things that won Pantoja that last fight really were, he's got a great low kick. He's got a great right low kick. And Moreno used to be there for it all day. It was something that has bothered him for a while, but against Kai Kara France, we saw him really develop on low kick defense, because obviously a lot of what Kai was doing was trying to take away his movement.
Yeah.
And Moreno has developed a really good lead leg, just pulling it back out of stance.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's going to be there to be battered with it as much as he was before.
Yeah.
And I think as a result, his movement won't go down as much as it did. I think he's going to be able to just sort of walk circles around Pantoja. Pantoja's a guy his boxing is sloppy at best. He will stand in front of you and he'll throw 1-2s and hooks until you've moved away enough for him to stop.
Yep.
He gets by just having that dog in him. Like, he absolutely gets by just heart and will and just sort of pulling himself together and staying there. Like him versus Figueiredo was a classic example where that first round versus Figueiredo, Pantoja looked so uncomfortable in there because Figueiredo, he'd bite down on his mouthpiece and he'd step in with something super telegraphed, and Figueiredo would counter him, and it looked like he had his shit rocked every time.
Yeah.
Second and third round, he was like, okay, fuck it, this is what it is. Let's make it a dogfight. I just stood in front of Figueiredo. Didn't win the rounds, but countered him as much as he got hit, really, and just went to war.
Yeah.
So I think if Moreno gets on his movement, gets on his horse, I think he's going to be able to move around Pantoja, let Pantoja open himself up with his sloppy boxing, clip him with stuff. And the other thing really is that Pantoja's quite a consistent gasser. He gets tired in his 3 round fights, and it's not like
And we know Moreno will not get tired.
We know that Moreno won't, and we know that Moreno can put a pace on you, and we know that Moreno is going to be
Been
there
before,
for all
man.
5 rounds.
Big stage.
Yeah.
Big stage.
So for 5 rounds, I think Pantoja is going to slow. Like, a lot of what Pantoja does is in those later rounds, he'll kind of just wait around, and he'll become a counter striker. He'll just wait for a nice right straight into a low kick or a high kick.
Yeah.
And Moreno's not going to let him wait. I think Moreno's going to be there, moving around him, feinting at him, stepping in, stepping out, just like giving him fits with that, I think. So I think Moreno really should get this fight. And it's going to be one where if he doesn't make the right adjustments, if he doesn't do the right stuff, Pantoja can take it away from him by just staying in front of him and hitting him.
Yeah.
And also, like, Pantoja's an incredible. It's worth mentioning. Pantoja is a fucking fantastic back taker. Probably the best, I would say, in the sport.
Yeah.
At taking the back.
Mm.
Just so slick, so clean. Crab rides and just sliding onto the back as soon as people give him an inch.
Yeah. Other than...
So
But since Pantoja, Moreno's only lost to... he drew with Askarov and he drew with Figgy.
But he didn't draw with Askarov, though, did he?
No, okay.
He won that fight easy.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
I don't even remember that fight. I just know that happened.
Oh, yeah, no, it was a Moreno win quite clearly. I think it's quite well regarded.
Was that a point deduction?
No. I think it was a 10-8 somewhere, and then 2 10-9s. But I think one of the 10-9s.
But I mean, other than that,
I think
it's just
Moreno got a 10-8 and then
Figgy, which he drew with Figgy, and then Figgy won the third fight, even though I thought he lost. I thought Brendan won, but also biased. I don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah, look, I got Brendan Moreno by decision in this.
Yeah, so do I.
I think yeah.
I think the grappling's like the most dangerous area for him. I think if the thing is, but
he's a good grappler too.
Well.
Moreno's a great grappler too. Great scrambler.
He is, and he's a good scrambler, and he can defend a shot. And I think that Pantoja's the kind of guy where if you defend a couple of his shots, he doesn't really keep going at his grappling.
Yeah.
He moves away from it quite quickly if he doesn't feel like he can get himself there. Probably because he gasses. Probably because he doesn't want to exert too much energy.
Yeah.
Just throwing himself at people if he doesn't think he can get it. So I think if Moreno can stay committed to stuffing takedowns, or if he goes down scrambling up, treat it like the floor is lava.
Yeah.
Stay on your feet for as long as
I wouldn't
possible.
even mind some offensive grappling, to be honest.
No, neither would I. But I think it's Pantoja's best chance. Easy is submitting him.
Yeah.
So I would, if I was Moreno, I would stay away from it as much as possible.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Okay. With that, we get to the main event of the evening.
That we did.
For the undisputed featherweight championship of the world, the interim champion Yair Rodriguez from Mexico challenges the pound-for-pound number 1 undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world out of Australia, Alexander the Great Volkanovski. I mean, can I just say, outside of bias, outside of whatever I'm about to say, whatever you're about to say, Volk being both of our favourite fighters, the switching stances favourite fighter, if you will.
Yep.
This fight is banging.
Guys,
it's absolutely fucking banging. This is a sick fight. Matchup wise, this isn't Volk smash. It is, but it isn't. Like, this is a sick fucking fight. I think this will be fight of the night.
Yeah,
I think this will be fight of the night. I think this will be fucking awesome. Because name a boring Volk fight and name a boring Yair fight. They don't really have... they have, fights that you're like, okay, maybe it's not the greatest fight all time. But
I'd say Aldo is a pretty boring fight from Volk. But other than that...
I mean, if you hate Glory, I guess. But I personally love Glory raining down on the nation. But
sure,
these two...
Okay.
But, I mean, stylistically...
these two aren't going to have a boring fight.
This is not a boring fight, bro.
Zero
this
chance.
is going to be so tense. This is going to be roof coming off the place.
Yeah.
I expect this place full of fucking Mexicans, and good for them.
Yeah.
You know, I expect a raucous crowd. I do think a lot of people will be cheering for Volk because I think the world love him. I really do.
I think he's won over everyone that doesn't like the Dagestani lot.
Yeah.
By beating 100%. Islam.
Yeah, but also even just his last Max win as well. The Ortega fight, like he's just been. I mean, he's a fan favorite now. Volk went from like being Max won the rematch, fuck Volk, to being like Volk's the king. You know, I mean, it's International Fight Week. It's WrestleMania. This is the second year in a row. He's been on this card. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This is the second. Like Australia, New Zealand. I feel like we are the kings of MMA at the moment, worldwide. We're the top. We're the pinnacle.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And it took us a long time to get here. But we're not just here for a minute. We've been here for a while. This isn't our first International Fight Week. Last International Fight Week was all of us again. Defending both titles. Middleweight title from New Zealand. Featherweight title out of Australia. We won. The boys, and still, baby. You know? And this time, it's no different. It's no different. The Mexican crowd will be happy because Brandon Moreno will retain the title. But Rob's winning, Dan's winning, Jack Della's winning, and ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Volkanovski's fucking winning. I'll tell you that right now. Volkanovski's winning this fight.
I think it is like Volk's been saying it the whole time, that it's a dangerous fight.
It's fucking dangerous. Guys, it's dangerous.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because Yair does a lot of stuff with a lot of explosivity, and it's stuff that bothers Volk, typically. It's high kicks and it's low kicks. And those are both things that Volkanovski, like, people don't low kick him as much as maybe they should because he's so good with his movement, maybe. But
he comes right back.
If you
watch Volk get leg kick, you watch him kick right fucking back immediately. For sure.
But like, I was rewatching the Ortega fight, and it was something that Ortega was doing really quite well. Actually, it was hitting the legs of Volk, and Volk wasn't really checking him. And it didn't matter. Obviously, Ortega got smashed, but it's worth noting given how good Yair's leg kicks are.
Yeah. I'd also assume Volk could be worried about giving like away takedown opportunities with like certain kick checks and things like that against Ortega, like a bit different of a
I'm
style
sure.
of fight. And I just maybe most fighters I wouldn't say that because it's so fight IQ like technical.
Yeah, but Volkanovski.
But Volk's a scientist. He's a mad scientist in there. Like. He's someone that I'd be like, well, I think he would think about that. I think if he wasn't checking legs, it's almost on purpose. Like, you know what I mean? You're sitting there like, Volk doesn't check leg kicks. I'm like, must be on purpose. Because he wouldn't be not checking leg kicks. Because it's Volk. He's the highest level of MMA we've seen.
I think he can check leg kicks. I just think...
Sure do, too.
I just don't think he's...
I don't think they hurt him.
I don't think
Can I just say that? Can I just throw that out there? Don't think it hurts him.
Okay.
I don't think he can be hurt. Personally, I don't think it can happen. I think he eats it like fucking Weet-Bix, mate.
Yeah. Look, I think it's Volk's fight to lose. To be honest, he should
too, and I don't like that.
I think we're going to get a lot of grappling as well. I think Volkanovski is going to be wrestle heavy. I think most of what I've seen from his camp has been wrestling, has been trips, has been,
I feel like
Yair's on one leg.
I agree with you. Yeah.
Yair's on one leg so much that I think he's kind of easy to bundle over.
Yeah.
And if Volk can stay, what's the word? If Volk can stay like, not cautious, but I don't know how to say it. If he can make sure he's not getting submitted and stay on top of that, then he should run away with the early rounds, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I also think for those that might say, but Yair's really good off his back. Yair's are really good on the ground too. And he is, don't get me wrong, like good grappler and great off his back.
Yeah.
He ain't submitting Volk. It ain't happening.
No, I don't think he's trying to take it off his back.
If Islam Makhachev and Brian Ortega can't submit him on the ground, Yair Rodriguez is not submitting Volk on the ground. Unless he's
I'd be
got him
surprised.
really hurt. Unless it's from being dropped and then he finished. He's not finishing him from just bad positions. If Volk's on top landing bombs, which he will, that will happen. That will happen in this fight at some point.
I can see
even
it
if Yair wins.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, Volk's. We will see Yair on his back, and we will see Volk landing bombs. That will happen.
Yeah, I think so.
We talked earlier in the podcast about the potential Ilia fight. I think it's a very similar story. I think, do not get it twisted. I am the most nervous I've been in a long time for a Volk fight. Those first 2 rounds are
actually
so tense.
Sorry. I was pretty nervous for Islam, and I was.
Actually, I was more nervous for Islam. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Featherweight. I felt like that was different.
Yeah.
I feel like that was way more warranted to be nervous. Featherweight title defenses. This is the most nervous I've probably ever been. Because when it came to Max, I was like, well, I can accept Max being better. You know what I mean? We love Max. I can't accept that. I won't. In fact, I won't. I won't accept it.
No.
Yair, great guy, great fighter. Really like him. Fan of Yair. Love Mexicans. All that. I think first 2 rounds, Yair's gonna be dangerous. I think he respects Volk a lot. I don't think he's gonna be as wild first round as one might think. I think second round will be Yair's most dangerous round, personally. I think first round will be a lot of feeling out. I think there will be some wild shit. Yair will sort of not fully throw, but feeler, low risk. And then he'll build up. And we'll start to see that both sorts of game plans sort of coming to fruition heading into that second round. I'm worried about that second round. I don't know why. It's a vibe thing. That's how we operate here. I'm just worried about that second round. Could I see Volk even drop into a knee? I could. I could see it. But
I can see him. I can see him.
I don't want to see it. I don't need to see it.
No.
But can I see it? Yeah.
I genuinely can see him being put away.
No.
Which is why it's a scary fight as a Volkanovski fan.
I can't see him being put away.
Yeah, but you can.
No, I can't. No,
really?
I can't see
it. You don't think there's a chance?
Of course there's a chance, but I can't see it. I don't really see how. Realistically. Like we talked about... you talked about being nervous, and I'm like, at some point logic's going to come through. That's how I feel about, Rob and Dricus. This isn't that. This is okay, I see that this is a real threat. There's no doubt about it. This is a real threat.
No, exactly.
But I don't know. I can't imagine it happening. Yeah, sure, I could. But, in my brain, I'm like, I can't even, picturing it feels weird.
Oh, it feels weird, but I just...
I
don't know. It's one of those where, Volk's at the height of his powers.
Yeah, it is a classic. It's a classic. If it was going to happen, it feels like this would be the fight where it happens. It's not the guy you want it to be necessarily, but it's I guess. I think Volk's the better fighter, and I think even if he lost it'd just be one of those cases that Volk would come back and beat him in a rematch type thing. It would just be for fuck's sake. But I do think, I think Volk's going to... I think this is Volk's last big run, just based on age and vibe. I think he's going to win this fight, get a lightweight title shot, and then when he's 36, let's talk about...
Then we'll drop off.
Let's talk about worry. Let's talk about, is he past? Is it sort of the end time now? What are we looking at in the future? Is it Ilia's time? You know what I mean? It's just we're worrying then in a year or two. I'm not worried yet. I feel like Volk's in his prime. Are we at the tail end? Maybe, but I feel like he's in his prime. He's working his ass off. I think his game plan, I think he's too smart. I think he's too strong. I think he's going to catch so many kicks. I think he's going to grapple Yair, and I think he's going to bully him. My prediction is a stoppage in between rounds from damage.
Yeah, that's a really good shout.
I think
just
it'll
eye
be,
swelling up. You reckon?
I think yeah. I'm picturing back when Yair was the next hot thing back in the day when he burst on the scenes and they put him up against Frankie Edgar at the height of Frankie's powers and Frankie just bullied him.
I'm saying that.
I get those images, but more mature Yair. But Yair is also fighting the pound for pound #1 best mixed martial artist maybe we've ever seen. So it's
I think so. I think
it's sort of
it's
it's the same level. You know, one of the greatest ever, one of the best of all time. I see Volk putting on, like, if he gets out of the second, third, fourth round, I feel like Volk's going to really put some damage in. I feel like he's really going to put some damage in those rounds. And I think we could be looking at like a doctor stoppage. I'm talking elbows, I'm talking big bombs down from the top. And I think Yair's got that Mexican chin. He's not going to go out.
No, not a chance.
But I don't think he's a crazy person either. So I see Yair, doctor stoppage between the third and fourth or the fourth and fifth. That's what I see. That's what I think will happen.
Yeah,
that's my prediction.
I think TKO. I think it'll be a TKO. Whether it's between
I think
rounds
Volk's
or
too good at getting on the inside, dude. He's too good at it.
I think it'll be similar to.
Similar.
Yeah, I mean, Yair is not a good boxer either. Like, he's okay. He can box, but compared to Volkanovski, not.
And Volk's gonna catch those kicks. Volk is gonna catch those kicks.
Yeah, I think it'll be right.
And only more and more, the more tired Yair gets, the longer the fight goes. Catch kicks, trips, takedowns, ground and pound. That's what I see once we get to the third and beyond. That's all I see happening. First two,
I think it'll be similar to the Ortega fight in that I think it's going to be like, I can see the stoppage coming in a similar way to when Volkanovski, let's be honest, finished Ortega.
I mean, legally, within the rules of mixed martial arts, you know, you cannot be helped up by a cornerman to your feet.
No, you know what? Having rewatched that a couple times, they kind of just touch him, and he's like, "Okay, shit, gotta go." They don't like heave him up.
Yeah, they do.
But
you're a fraud. You're a
fraud. No, look, I'm gonna fucking quantify it, because the thing is, right, afterwards, it's Herb Dean being like, "How many fingers am I holding up?" and Ortega answering back like purple. You know, it's like him having no idea what's going on, having like the ducks spinning around his head. That's where you stop the fight.
Yeah, imagine your name is T-City, known for triangles. You get a triangle on your opponent, and at the end of the round, you don't know what fingers the doctor's holding up. You're saying purple. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's how bad you got your ass whooped for even daring to put him in submissions.
You know and that's the thing, is like, I'd like to see, and I wouldn't like to see someone, but if I was anti-Volk, I'd like to see someone try joint submissions on him. Something you can't just tough out. Mm-hmm. You know, something that's
we've seen people tough out those, though.
Yeah, of course. We've seen guys like Tony.
I don't think you can. I think like Volk's like Wolverine. Like, his bones are metal. You know?
I mean, look, I agree. I just think I can see Yair with an armbar.
He's the real.
If he gets it done by sub, I think armbar's how he's going to do it.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's going to do it.
No, I sure don't. And Volk's arms just like, I don't know. I can't see an armbar on Volk. I feel like Volk will just start punching you. He'll just stack you and punch you.
Actually, he's got quite big arms.
He's got long arms. I think he'll stack him and punch. But the way he works with his body is he can get up, you know, really tighten those grappling exchanges because his body's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's just going to fucking get in tight and stack him and fucking drop bombs if he tries to get an armbar.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. Again, it's Volk's fight to lose. It's one that he really should win. But there's an X factor, which is just how explosive and dangerous Yair is. Which feels like a broken record at this point, but it's the thing in this fight.
It's
you know, Volkanovski is better everywhere. Probably is a better kicker, I'd say, actually, like in terms of how he uses his kicks. But Yair can take someone's head off with a kick.
Very different styles, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
totally. Totally.
But like Yair is genuinely dangerous with his kicks, dangerous with his elbows. There's not much else he has to offer Volk other than like an active guard, which he's seen from Ortega and has overcome.
So you've got Volk. How do you see it going down?
I've got Volk by TKO. I think it's going to be similar to what you're saying. I think 3 or 4. I would probably hedge my bet on.
Yeah, okay. I like it. I really like it. Yeah. I really like it. Okay. Well,
we'll be back. Are we saying next week?
Yeah, next week. 100% breaking this down. Reaction.
Yeah.
Well, depending, because if Dricus wins, then I'll be dead.
Okay.
But other than that,
I'll be back.
Yeah, we'll be back. Yeah, we'll be back next week. Gaz or both of us, we'll be back next week for another episode of Switching Stances, where we will recap UFC 290 and look forward to the future, but probably not the actual future card of the next week, because fuck all that. So thank you all for tuning in. Let us know your predictions down in the comments if you're watching on YouTube. Or if not, be sure to give us a good rating on your podcast service of choice. Thank you all for tuning in, and I guess we'll see you all next week for another episode of Switching Stances. Thank you, and goodbye.
Thank you.